So now I have the pleasure of introducing Scottie Hobbs. I have to say, the image that I have of you is of holding your little tiny 4 or 5 day, I think he was 5 days old baby. Last year when we went to leadership, and I haven't even really introduced Scottie, but I have to say, I mean, imagine, you and your wife just had a baby and you show up to leadership with a 5-day-old little baby. I mean, I just get goosebumps. Talk about commitment. And then commitment not only, from you, but from your wife, and you guys are doing this as a family. And I know you've got a lot of kids. I just remember Tony Horton joking around with Tracy Morrow saying, you've got like 100 kids, but you're up there too, Scottie. So officially, you are number 5 on the leaderboard right now. You are in the running for top 10. I have no doubt that you will be in the top 10. You are a 7-star diamond coach, but you have 12 diamonds between all 3 business centers, and you have been in Success Club 29 months, Success Club 10, 29 months in a row. That is just amazing and impressive. And just from the outside, from what I see, I mean, I'll be honest, I don't follow a lot of people, but I always see you around, and the feeling that I have from you is, honestly, I didn't even know if you were a 7-star, 12 diamond star and all that. I just, from the outside, I guess I can call myself a veteran coach, my impression of you is just that you're this really awesome person, just an awesome human being and a family man, and your name just kept coming up and being recognized. I'm like, oh, who is this guy? But again, I didn't really know who you were. I know of you because just who you are just kind of shines through, and I just sense that you're just this really kind, loving soul. And for that reason, and because you're a kick-ass coach, I invited you to be on the call. So Scottie's going to talk to us tonight about his story. Just tell us his story. He's going to give us some top tips to be successful. And, I mean, if he's in the top 10, it means that he's sponsoring new coaches like crazy. So I asked him if he could kindly share with us how he's doing it, his secrets to sponsoring coaches. With that, Scottie, you have the floor. So excited to have you with us.
Awesome. Thanks, Barbie. It's crazy being announced with all the things. I know you hear coaches say that all the time when they get on national coach calls. It's really quite humbling, actually. As you're listening to some of your top recruiters and those that had 3 coaches and above, and I'm like, man, I look up to all those people and have since the day I began. And I'll tell you some of my story, but just I have to hit on that really quick. And I'll just say 2 of the names. I really, as a guy, I really looked up to, Wayne Wyatt and Josh Spencer's transformations and that they were successful in the business. And to tell you guys a funny story as we get started, when I started as a coach, I had like 225 Facebook friends. And I remember following some of these coaches, and I signed up as a coach with Lindsay Matway, and I followed her for about 8 months before I became a coach, and I'll share that in my story. But I signed up as a coach, and I believe one of the biggest parts of my success and the success of our team is the undeniable, incredible belief that it could be done. And it was from watching coaches for a little while before I became a coach, like you, Barbie, and Wayne, and Josh, and my coach, Lindsay, and just seeing that they were real people with families, a lot of them, having success with this business. But I remember posting on my Facebook wall, and it's funny because I scrolled back because I was curious as I was seeing how I posted and how my new coaches are posting on their wall to share that they're being a coach, because I share that you shouldn't ever be an undercover coach. You should always share your life and your story and what you're going through and your struggles with everybody. So on my first week as a coach, I posted, and it won't be word for word, but it's something like, I will have one of the biggest, most successful teams in Team Beachbody. And I had no idea really what a team really was when I signed up. I knew that I was joining Lindsay's team, as we'll say, but I didn't know what it meant, but I had proclaimed that, I guess, to the world, to my 200 Facebook friends, that I was going to be have one of the most successful teams in Team Beachbody. So it goes back to one of the things I'm going to share with you guys today, which is about belief. But we're going to rewind to the most important part that I like to hear most from elite coaches and successful coaches that have gone before me. You know, the Coach Training Academy has everything you need to know to build this business, training guides. Even in the past 2 years that I've been a coach, it's improved tremendously. And there's coaches that willingly put out training videos on coach placement, on challenge groups out on YouTube that you can find and plug into and learn from other people that have become successful. So all that information is there for everybody to learn from. And, you know, it's so awesome to see coaches across the network sharing that stuff with everybody. And I remember one time I asked Barbie for some of her training, and she's like, oh, I love to share. And I was like, wow, this is so awesome that people from other teams want to share what they're doing. So, you know, with that being said, I'm going to go back to when I became a Team Beachbody coach. I did T90X May 10th, and I'll fast forward through a lot of the story, but I think the story is the most important thing. Like looking at these coaches like Tracy Morrow or anybody that's gone before us, really the key to their success is not necessarily the daily activities that we know from the game plan and from the Coach Training Academy, but their story and how they use their story to, you know, create a vision for their own life of how they can change it and then inspire others to do the same thing. So my story, so you guys can understand, we'll skip a lot of it because I will be 32 years old tomorrow, so I've lived a few years, not as many as some, but, you know, my whole life I struggled, and a lot of people don't know this, I struggled with self-esteem. I have the most amazing parents ever. And you know, my dad, he spent time with us kids like you couldn't imagine, with baseball, basketball, activities, camping, riding motorcycles, you know, being outdoors and enjoying life. So he taught me that. And my grandpa was an entrepreneur, I guess you could say, and I didn't realize what an entrepreneur was growing up, but he owned his own auto mechanic shop. So he worked hard, and he taught my dad to work hard and that you should give service to people, and that if you're going to do something, you got to do it right the first time. And so I learned all these awesome traits that created me into the person I am today. And I haven't shared this with very many people because it's embarrassing in a way, but I know that to help other people overcome struggles, you've got to relate with them. So I was always this really good kid, you know, raised by great parents. I actually went on a 2-year mission for my church. So I spent 2 years in a country in South America, so I know what poverty is, and I spent 2 years of my life sweating with a shirt and tie on, giving service to people and helping people. I mean, we helped build brick homes. We made meals for people. For 2 years I did that, and I learned a different language. So I know what it takes to give your life to service to others and not expect a single thing in return, at least in, you know, monetary or, you know, right away be like, oh, here for your 10 hours, here's this. So I learned to give service. And, you know, like I said, I struggled with self-esteem growing up. And a lot of it, I won't hit on all the stories, but there's just different instances in my life where I gave everything I had to, for example, to baseball. I played in the Little League World Series, and I thought I'd be a pro ball player. And there was an instance where I was totally cut off from baseball, even though I'll brag, I was probably the best in our high school, and I got cut off from that because of politics. And so I always had these, but I always had these things that happened to me where it made me feel like I wasn't really worth it. Like I'd give everything I had, my heart and soul. And like I said, I have parents that support me 100%, and then I would just be shut off in some way or told that I wasn't good enough or things like that. And it happened, you know, into my career. But this is the part I say I'm a little bit embarrassed about because I taught religion and was a missionary. And I came home and I surrounded myself with, when I went off to school to be a dental lab technician to create crowns and bridges, I ran into, you know, I play music. I play in a band right now, actually. Tomorrow and the next day we're doing our state university's, you know, back to school party, and we're playing that. But I've always played music, so I fell into this crowd. And me, of course, always wanting to fit in, did what they did and did things that they didn't do to be the cool one or the first one. And I became an alcoholic and not too many people know this, and this might be one of the first team calls I ever shared this with, but
yay!
I became addicted to cocaine, and I was a musician, and luckily it didn't last too long, maybe half a year. And there was a time when I secluded myself, and I did it all to fit in with people, and I was probably 22 years old, 23. I secluded myself from my friends, and I found out, and I soon realized, luckily, that I was doing it away from everybody else. So I knew it was a real problem. It wasn't just to fit in, but that I was doing it because I thought I had to, and I was secluding myself from other people to do it, to do it on my own. And so, luckily, maybe the values that my parents taught me and my grandpa, something snapped me out of it. I decided instantly that was not going to be the way I was going to live. I moved out of that situation and that home that I lived in with about 16 other guys in the same problem as me. And, my life started to get a little bit better. That's when I met Gabby. Right before I met Gabby, I met a kid that's actually a coach on our team now. It took him 2 years to join, by the way, so know that every conversation you have is a seed planted. But he was a complete stranger. I just met him. He invited me to his home. His wife was probably like, who's this kid with the lip piercings and the gauged ears? And he gave me dinner and gave me clothes out of his closet. So, and he's a coach now, which is amazing, but it's cool to see that come full circle, where he helped pull me out of this as a complete stranger into where he's at now with us as a Team Beachbody Coach. But I always had these things, where I would do things to fit in and do things to help my self-esteem, and not always the best things. But luckily, Gabby came into my life. We had our first child. It's like 6 months after we got married, so that started our life right away. We bought a home that was, and in this time, I said I went off to dental lab school. I was a dental lab technician, and I worked for 2 years. And I got married to Gabby. We had our first kid. We were on Medicare, Medicaid, so luckily that helped. And our first child was, helped with the government, and I was doing this dental lab. But I started out, I was the best in my class, not going to lie. And I don't mean to brag about that, but I was the only one that did, real cases in school that would come in as Medicare, things. They brought them in. The teachers would do them as examples, and they were free to the patient. So I got to do some of those as a student. I got hired right away, but it was $11 an hour and no insurance. And like I said, I had a baby coming and my wife, and I worked hard. It was the honor in myself, and 2 years later, I was completely running the whole business, whereas the owner was out golfing. I don't mean to talk bad about him or anybody, but he was out golfing. He had a new car, and I had never got a raise or insurance. And I told him, I think I'm at a point where, I could use a raise with my baby growing up, and I feel like I've learned a lot here, and I'm doing a lot of work. And he told me that I wasn't good enough and that I wasn't bringing the company enough money so that I deserved a raise. And so I left, completely sporadic. That was in Salt Lake City, Utah. I moved Gabby and myself and my 3-month-old baby to Idaho Falls, my hometown. And I went to get a dental lab job with all my experience, and I got offered $8 an hour, which is ridiculous. So I took a job sweeping in a factory. And we had bought a home, and it was a little bit more expensive than we should have had, but I bought a home and went to work for $9.50 an hour sweeping, and I moved up through that company over the next 5 years, had a bajillion kids. Actually, we just have 4. But we had 11 kids, and, I moved up. What's that?
I'm like, you need to have another one, because I have the number 5 in my head. So. Oh,
no. We're not going to go there right now. So, so I moved up through the company. I worked hard. I wanted to get more out of life, and, I became the guy that, there's a machine that cuts metal, and I ran that machine. Someone broke their leg, and I stepped up and said, I'd like to learn how to do that. I could do that. So they taught me. I started running that machine. Then I started running 2 machines at once, when both usually it's one person. And then it was like, hey, I'd like to learn how to program this so that guy can go on vacation once in a while, because he worked like 12, 15 hours a day. So I learned that. Took over his job. He became like a manager, a supervisor. I took over the programming job. But I worked from 5 in the morning till 5 at night, and sometimes those machines would cut, and I was the guy that would stay because they allowed overtime, so I would work sometimes from 5 in the morning till midnight. And at the same time I'm doing this, my wife worked at the Hilton Garden Inn at the front desk from 3 o'clock to 11 at night. So I never saw my wife, except for Sundays, half day, because she works Sundays as well in the morning. So I never saw her, and our kids went to the neighbor's house for 2 hours between when I got home, when she went to work and I got home. And I used to, I became this laser programmer, then I started running the service department, and this is where I started P90X, a coworker, and I started it together. And I remember sitting in my office, like, thinking, like, I would write out on paper how I could become, a millionaire. I'm not much about money, but I wanted to pay my house off, and I wanted to know that I was secure and could take care of my family. I would write out the numbers, and it was impossible. I knew the top pay of where I could get in my company. And so I started trying to figure out a way to make money, and I started designing signs, like these clocks and woodwork and metalwork signs, and selling them on Facebook. And then I started doing that, and I started buying and selling stuff on Craigslist, like Xboxes. I'd buy them for $100 and resell them for $150, just to make enough money to help pay the bills. And so I did that for a while, and I went through P90X, and I said I'd watch my coach for 8 months. It was Lindsay. She first invited me to be a coach at 3 months. She was a coach for 3 months in the business. And I want to bring that up because I followed her and joined her, or was attracted to her business because of her confidence in where she was going. I had no idea she was 3 months in the business when I first contacted her. I thought that she was the number one coach in the company. I didn't know there was Tracy Morrows and Barbie Deckers out there because of the way that she held herself. I thought she was the top and successful. So I followed her. She invited me 3 times. I didn't even sign up. There was a Barbie will probably remember, there was one time a month when there was no enrollment as a coach. She even called me and said, hey, you can sign up for free this month. What's that?
I said you signed up during that time?
No, I didn't sign up. I still didn't sign up during that time.
Oh,
that's how stubborn I was. I was like, nope, no, I'm not going to do that. So I just continued watching her. But during this time, I started helping people do P90X anyway. And it was a time, I had 3 kids at this time. She went to, I had 2 kids, and pregnant with a 3rd. And my baby was born on March 19th, my 3rd one. And so my wife came home from work and left me with just my income. And we could not pay the bills. It was impossible with her home from work. And it was just that moment where it was like a collision of all these things that happened. I couldn't pay the bills. Lindsay had won a Scout It Out. It was called Scout It Out, where she won a trip to Cabo. And there was all these coaches talking about a Success Club trip they were going on, this cruise, in 2011. And I was like, seriously, you've heard people say this before, but I seriously said, why not me? I have a transformation with P90X. Now is my time. I have to do this. Everything's calling me together to do this. So I sold some stuff on, Craigslist. I got enough money to buy Shakeology. I had to tell my wife, I'm going to drop my Walmart protein for $30. That would leave me $60 to offset the balance of Shakeology. I promise you that in the first month I will make that $60 back, so it won't affect our budget. And I said to Gabby, do you believe him? Do you believe I can do this? And this is one of the coolest things she's ever said. That I think part of this is she said, I don't know, but I believe in you. And so it helped to have her believe in me from the start. And that's how I got started. I got a hold of Lindsay. I did my getting started right from my neighbor's house because I didn't have a smartphone or internet. I used his internet. He let me sit in his house in his living room on his laptop to work the business at first until I could buy me a laptop on Craigslist. And I just got to work knowing that I had to make this happen. And I had a goal of bringing my wife home from work. It a little bit longer than I wanted, but I wanted to say, I told Lindsay, I said, I need to make $10,000 a year with Beachbody. And she said, I can't promise you $10,000, but I promise your income will be a direct reflection of the number of lives that you can change. And so I said, okay, tell me what to do. And she told me to hit Success Club 10. And so I went at it, and that's the rest of the story. We've now hit Success Club 10 for 29 months straight since the date I signed up. It was 1 year, exactly 1 year. My wife left her job to be a stay-at-home mom. Then 2 months later, at Summit, I left my job and didn't go back. So I've been a stay-at-home dad now for 14 months, which is absolutely awesome.
Wow.
We paid off this mortgage, and I didn't mention this, but we refinanced our house at that time right before I signed up because I couldn't make the payments. I refinanced the mortgage. So we had a new 30-year loan right as I signed up as a coach, and some of you guys saw at Summit, we just paid off our whole mortgage in the 2 years as a coach. And if anyone's on our Facebook today, we are closing on a very expensive lakefront cabin that's been a dream of my parents and me forever. So the possibilities of this business are immeasurable, I guess you could say. And we have a team of about 5,100 coaches, which blows my mind. But that's our story, where we're at right now with the business. So now I get to share with you guys some tips and some things. But I want you guys to know that all these things that happened in my life made me who I am, and helped create the person or the habits that I have. And through Team Beachbody, I never knew about personal development before, but I've learned things about myself and been able to teach myself some things about discipline and being consistent and leadership. And so all money aside and the freedom of being home with my kids, the whole growth that you go through as a person, you become a different person, and it's absolutely amazing. And I saw Barbie share the video, but one of my biggest things to share with you guys as we start is, to grow a big Team Beachbody business or to create freedom like Barbie's done, or Josh, or myself, you have to become a great leader. And one of my favorite things that John C. Maxwell shares is that to become a great leader and to lead other people, you have to first learn how to lead yourself. And that's where I'm going to tell you my 3 most important tips. And they might be a little bit off from what you normally hear. You guys know the game plan. You guys know there's national calls where coaches teach you how to run challenge groups and all this stuff. You can see all that on YouTube. That's all there. So I'm not going to talk about that stuff. I'm going to talk about the 3 things that I think a coach must have to be successful in this. And it has to tie into becoming a great leader, which means being able to lead yourself. You have to first off have what I shared in the beginning about having belief in yourself. I had belief in myself. My wife believed in me. I mean, I proclaimed to my 200 friends on Facebook that I would have one of the most successful teams in Beachbody. So I know that belief was a huge part in this. And I know Amy Silverman on your team did an awesome video on what it takes to be elite, and it all tied back into belief as well. So I want you guys to get that belief aspect in your head first of all. But once you have that belief in yourself, you have to create a clear vision of where you want to go. A clear vision. And I sit 15 minutes a night. I sit in my hot tub when the kids are asleep, and I picture myself, I'm going to tell you guys right here, I picture myself walking across stage as a 15-star diamond, being in the Millionaire Club on stage at Summit, and I have no idea of the action plan and how this is exactly going to happen, but I have a clear vision. I clearly see it, and I visualize it every night. I did this with paying off my house. I sat in that hot tub, and I visualized that, what it would feel like. I would talk in the present, like, oh my gosh, this house is paid off. This is crazy. What happened? Like, I would speak to myself like that. So, I mean, that's an important part, is to visualize it, because I'm a big John C. Maxwell fan. He shares that, you have to have an action plan or steps to achieve your goal, but without the vision, if you don't have a vision always comes before action. If you don't have that vision, there's no way and no chance that you're going to get there, because you have no idea where you're going. So you got to create that vision first, and then once you have that, here's the 3 things, and you can see it on my Facebook profile picture, actually, on the banner. You have to have passion every day. You have to have passion every day. You have to have discipline. And the third one ties in with discipline. You have to be consistent and persistent. And it's consistent and persistent with everything from personal development, all the 3 vital behaviors, and your daily to-do list. If you don't have a list of daily things, I'm sure Barbie could give you a daily list, or I have a daily list on YouTube. But you have to have.
We use your daily list.
What's on my daily list?
I have it somewhere, and it's like 10 things of your daily list, and we use that in the new coach boot camp. My coaches have it, and it's great. Someone cut and pasted, and why reinvent the wheel? You've nailed it. So, yes, and I will repost it for our team account.
Awesome. So you have these things, so you have to be consistent and persistent with these things. But talking about the passion part of it, like, and I almost found a Brendan Bouchard as well, if you haven't heard of him. He talks about you got to be like a power plant. He says the power plant doesn't have energy. The power plant creates energy. And I see people all the time like, how come you're always so pumped up and you're always so motivating? And I watched your video this morning and it's motivating. And to be honest, it's like I don't wake up like that. I wake up with 4 kids, and sometimes I don't sleep at night. So I have to create energy every single day, and that comes from 2 of the vital behaviors that creating that energy comes from. I do my workout, and I do 1 solid hour of personal development, and after that, I'm pumped up. That's when I'll make a video. That's when I'll go talk to my coaches and get on the phone with my prospects, and I've created this energy and this passion. And it was kind of a cool story. You guys might have seen on the Super Saturday video my coach, Brigitte Linford. She's also here in Idaho Falls and 6-star qualifying after 15 months as a coach. But she is a full-time coach. She retired her husband as well. But she says that she, every day before she gets out of bed, and she says she sets her soul on fire. So that goes back to the same thing I'm talking about, is she turns herself into a power plant. She creates energy, creates passion before she ever gets to work. Because if you don't have the right mindset and the right attitude, you could do that list of 10 things and have no result from it if you have the wrong attitude or the wrong mindset or the wrong belief in yourself. So you have to get that mindset and that passion right from the beginning. And the cool thing that I had no doubt my coach Brigitte would be successful. I didn't know her in person. She found me on Facebook, and she lives in my town. She saw me posting stuff, saw friends commenting on me paying my mortgage off, and so she didn't contact me. She looked at my stuff, went and bought Shakeology, had a transformation, then called me and says, hey, I can do what you're doing. Tell me how. And so I came over to give her a Getting Started Right, and after the Getting Started Right, and she's a Success Club 10 now for 15 months. After I left, I was talking to her. I was like, I'm scared to leave my job. This is crazy. And she said, and she'll be a phenomenal leader in the top 10 coach. I could tell you this because of her ability to create vision in people's lives. Even in my life, even though I'm her sponsor coach, she said, Scottie, I didn't tell you this, but when you came over for that Getting Started Right interview, I didn't know you. I was a little nervous. But when you walked into my house, I felt a positive energy come through my door when you came into my house. And I know that if you carry yourself with that energy every day, you'll attract everybody and as many people as you need into your life to achieve any goal and dream that you set your mind to. And I'm like, holy cow, this is my brand new coach saying this. But, it just shows that I carry that passion every single day. So you got to have that passion. Going on to number 2, to the discipline. Barbie's going to share with you guys my list of 10 things you do every day. Don't get distracted, and make sure that you do the 3 vital behaviors first. Make sure that you do your important tasks first, and that you don't spend time doing time-consuming things like browsing through Facebook, checking in on a whole bunch of groups. Like, I am a 100% advocate that you should go to your challenge group every day. Go to any coach mentor group you may be in, or challenge groups or team page. You got to do that, but go in and come out. Go in, check, comment, welcome people, answer any questions, and out. And go through a list like that, and that way you know that you hit every single thing that you're supposed to do that day, and you don't see a result from it. So you have to have faith and believe that you do those steps, you're gonna have success. That the success will come if you do those activities. But get in and get out, and make sure you do your most important tasks first. And you have to be disciplined, and it goes back to that part about to be able to lead other people, you got to first be able to lead yourself. If you can't listen to the National Coach Call or get on your team call or check your challenge groups every day, you're not going to be able to help somebody else do that, because you've got to lead that by example. And your people will do what you do, whether it be good or bad, for the most. And you won't see it happening. So if you're having some sort of success and you change your habits and you're not doing everything, without you knowing, your team will do the same thing. So you have to always keep in mind that everybody's watching you, and that you've got to be disciplined, and you've got to be your own. I say this: you've got to be your own very best coach. You've got to be your own very best customer. So that means on your transformation, on your personal development, you've got to be the best that you can be every single day so that others follow you. And the biggest part about the personal development tying into that is that it's not just about learning time management or personalities or leadership from these personal development books. Personal development is there. Beachbody is a genius. Personal development is the number one thing, because as you become a better person, the people surrounding you become better. So if you're not becoming better, nobody around you will become better. And, if a coach is struggling and they're like, oh, I got 50 people on my team and no one checks in on the team page, no one's coming to the team call, nobody's doing this or nobody's doing that, most of the time it's because, say an example, let's say they're doing 3 hours a day on their business. They're doing just a minimum of 10 minutes, if any, of personal development. I tell that coach on our team, if you have 3 hours and nobody's doing anything and nobody's doing what you're saying and nobody's buying challenge packs, then you need to do 2 hours of personal development and then 1 solid hour of your inviting and supporting, and you'll become a better person and your results will start to change. So I think that is personal development is a huge part of success on that level. That as you become better, the people around you become better, but you also attract people that want to become better as well. So tying in that discipline with the consistency is the same thing. You've got to be consistent in keeping your results, on continually changing your own health, your own body transformation, your own personal development. You've got to continue to grow and be consistent in that. And you've got to lead your coaches with consistency. You have to be on the team calls yourself. You have to check into the team page yourself. You have to post in your challenge group every day yourself so that your people can follow what you're doing. It comes down to being passionate, disciplined, and consistent. So those
the host has joined the conference.
Tips. So those are my 3 biggest tips right there, and then making sure that you do it with the full belief in your potential and that you can achieve it with that clear vision of what you want. Just looking at the call here, man, I'm going a little long. We'll finish this out here in just a minute. I want to hit on one last thing. Those are my 3 top tips, okay? But the biggest thing I want to share with you guys how to recruit coaches, how to sign up a coach. A lot of times there'll be a coach in the business and it takes them 3 months to be an emerald, or 6 months and they're still not an emerald. And there's a conversation that I have with them, or with somebody that hit Success Club and they're ready to go emerald, that I have with them that helps them move their business forward and become an emerald coach. And it ties back into that main word I said in the beginning, which is belief. And I want you guys to write this down. If you struggle with sponsoring a coach yourself, I want you to write this down so that you can give yourself positive affirmations, speak these positive affirmations to yourself. I'll give an example to you guys right now to know how the compound effect works. My first year as a coach, we sponsored 3 to 5 coaches a month. Second year in the business, we sponsored 5 to 10 coaches a month. This is going into our 3rd year as a coach. We're now, sponsoring 10 to 20 coaches a month. And it comes from getting better at these things and having more belief in this thing. And here it is. Write your own personal affirmation how you want, but you got to have undeniable belief in these 3 things. 1, belief in yourself. Number 2, belief, and this is like undeniable belief that the Beachbody products, Shakeology and the workout and the Beachbody challenge, can change somebody's health. If they use those tools that you give them, the challenge pack, and they apply it to their life with consistency and belief in their goals, that their life will change. Number 3, undeniable belief that the coach opportunity will work for absolutely anybody. Anybody that you plug into doing the 3 vital behaviors of becoming proof the product works, changing their life, their health, growing as a person with a personal development. And we'll say inviting, we'll say that as adding value to people, you know, getting to know people, knowing their goals, and inviting them to make a change. Undeniable belief that the coach opportunity will work for somebody, no matter who it is. And a lot of time, and I'm going to hit on that one a lot right now, because a lot of coaches won't even introduce Team Beachbody because they don't know exactly what to do with them once they start, or they don't know if they can lead them, or they don't know if they know how to coach them to be a coach because they're just learning to be a coach themselves. You have to have undeniable belief that if you plug them in, if they do the Coach Training Academy and the 7-day Quick Start Guide and team up with you or an upline coach and do challenge groups together, that they can pay for their product, even if it's a small goal, pay for their product and make even an extra $50 a week or $100 a week. And I want you guys to think right now, especially those of you that struggle with inviting somebody to be a coach, think of somebody in your life that you know struggles a little bit financially, even just a little bit, that lives paycheck to paycheck. And visualize, like 3 months from now, that person a little bit healthier and making an extra $50 to $100 a week. So we'll say $200 to $400 a month extra on top of their bills that they struggle with. How would it feel to you to know that you introduced something to them that gave them an extra $400 a month to help pay the car bill, or to help, you know, if they got a flat tire, to help buy a tire without them having stress? And I want you to think about those 3 things on inviting and recruiting a coach. And I'm going to hit on those real quick again. Undeniable belief in yourself, undeniable belief that the products will change somebody's health, even if they don't want to become a coach, that they will change their life, and undeniable belief that the coach opportunity works for anybody. And I've had breakthroughs with coaches that even are close to Diamond. We've had Success Club 10 for 6 months in a row, and I've come to find out that they just don't believe that anybody can do this like them. And we had this conversation about all the people that surround this particular girl that struggle financially, and she didn't have struggle, so it was hard for her to grasp this. But you have to believe that the coach opportunity can help somebody, even if it's an extra $100 on top of paying for their own Shakeology, that $100 would help them pay their cell phone bill, or $100, like I said, $400 would. And we're not even talking big things like paying off your mortgage or paying off a huge school loan debt or anything like that. We're talking about, you know, people struggle in life, and people want to matter, people want to be a part of something, and so people are waiting for you to talk to them. And if they don't join now, we've heard it a million times, it's not a no, it's just a no or not right now. Just like me waiting 8 months to become a coach, it was 8 months too long. That 8 months, even if I would make $100 on top of paying for my Shakeology, that would have paid my cell phone bill, and I wouldn't have to be trying to sell stuff on Craigslist. So there's people all around you that need this opportunity, but you have to believe that you can help them. And if you're a new coach, you don't have to know everything about it. All you've got to know how to do is plug them into the team, plug them into the system, plug them into the training, and then be the best encourager that you can. So as far as recruiting coaches, those are my 3 biggest tips, is having that belief, so that when you have that belief, it's not talking to someone about making lots of money with Team Beachbody. It's about changing their health and paying for their product and making a little bit extra. And after they do that, then you help create the vision a little bit more, and then a little bit more, and you begin to expand their vision as they step forward, just like driving in the dark with your headlight. You know, you just illuminate the path right ahead of them and help them get there. So believe in that. And any time that you're talking to somebody, and I'm going to tell you guys the perfect chance to give somebody a coach opportunity, and that I do. When I talk to somebody and figure out their deep why, they're like, I am desperate to lose 100 pounds, and I am desperate to lose 30 pounds in the next 90 days with this challenge, and it's going to feel like this. I'm going to reward myself like this. I'm ready to go. And I tell them the price, and they're like, I don't have that. I immediately go back to how I felt at that time. And I'll just I'll just relate with them. I'll be like, holy cow, Samantha, I know exactly how you feel. When it took me a little while to get started as well, and, I'd never tried Shakeology before, and, I wanted to do it so bad, like I needed to do it, but I had to personally, and it's sometimes a little hard for me to share this, but I had to buy stuff on Craigslist for cheap, fix it, and resell it. And that's actually how I started as a Team Beachbody coach and bought my Shakeology and got my P90X. And then I just say, I know that you need this change in your life, and I know that your husband supports you. And I know it's a financial burden right now, but I want you to go home tonight, and I want you to talk with your husband about what you want.
The host has joined the conference.
I want you to share everything with him that you shared with me today about what you want to achieve, and see if you guys can come up with a plan to make this happen, to get started on your transformation. But I also want you to know that there's an opportunity for you to join a network of people just like you that are trying to better their lives, and we're called Team Beachbody Coaches, just like me. You can be a coach just like me and get your Shakeology at a discount, and then, a month from now in your challenge, when you've lost 10 pounds and you're drinking Shakeology at your job, for lunch, and someone asks you about it, there's a couple things you can do. You could tell them about it, and they can go buy it online. You could tell them about me. They can come buy it from me, and I can make a 25% commission. Or you can send them to your website, and you can make the commission and help pay for your own Shakeology. And I don't try to recruit them right now. I just get them thinking about it, and I let them know that, that's something that you can do. And if that's not what you want to do right now, just know that as you go through this challenge group, that you have the ability to inspire people. And I always share my quote with them right here. It's great to inspire people, or to be inspired by somebody, like you've been inspired to change because of what I've done. But I'll tell you what, Samantha, it's incredible to inspire. And so I help plant the vision that they can change their life, and that they have the ability to inspire others to start as well, and that there's an opportunity to, pay for their own Shakeology, and then even beyond if that's what they want. So that's what I do to recruit a coach. And then you just have to be emotionally unattached to whether they join you or not at the current moment. That your job is just to share stories, whether it's yours or somebody else's, and then offer them a solution. And then it's up to them to make the decision. So don't take anything personally if they're not ready, or they have price objections or anything like that. Just know that if you do that consistently, you're planting seeds all at the time, and you continue to lead the example, and you will be successful in this business. So, Barbie, that's about all I had today. Do you have any questions? I know I went long.
You're like, that's all I had. I mean, no. Yes, I know. You said so much, and I've taken notes. What did you say?
It's hard to squeeze it all in, huh?
No, it was perfect. I mean, you said so much that's really, first of all, in the first part, I was glad that I didn't have to speak. I just muted, and I was teary-eyed, and I was getting messages, and everyone else was teary-eyed. So, for the first part, really, I have to thank you from the heart for speaking to me personally, and then speaking to several coaches in particular that really needed to hear your story about addiction. I got several messages, and you spoke to them at a moment that they needed to hear what you said. And just thank you for your honesty. I mean, seriously, I have chills. Thank you for your honesty. I just with everything. I mean, I didn't know your story, and we all have a story. And you shared so much. I really hope that our coaches I'll share the link with you so that you can share with your team as well as you like. But I really hope that you guys will listen to the recording, take some notes, and really take to heart everything that he said about belief, about sponsoring coaches, about being persistent, about passion. I mean, just everything. I was just like shaking my head, like nodding, yes, yes, yes. So I don't have any questions, Scottie. I just want to say thank you. I mean, I have no doubt, as you were saying, that you sit in the bathtub, visualizing yourself as a 15-star diamond coach and as a millionaire, being recognized as in the Millionaire Club next year. I have no doubt. I was already smiling because I was already sharing that vision with you. So I see it for you. And I just wish you all the success in the world. I really want to thank you for being who you are and for sharing with our team and just being so open and being of service to others. Like, you didn't come on this call to brag and to say what you are, what you're doing. Like, every word that you spoke just really showed how much you want others to believe and to know that they can succeed. So, I don't even know how to thank you.
No, that's enough right there. It's, I've always wanted to do something where I felt like I mattered, and I'm there. So just hearing a thank you, brings, makes me a little teary-eyed. So I just want to say thank you, and it was great being with you guys.
Oh, thank you so much. So I will put it's going to process. I'm going to have the recording up in a little bit. Scottie, thank you so much, and I will see you at Leadership in 3 weeks, 4 weeks?
Yep.
All right. Have a great night. Thank you for taking the time out, and we love you, Scottie, and my team really thanks you. So have a great night, everyone.